if we sing along?
And what's really cool about a lot of songs is if you just make up the words. About how you feel about morning breaking. Perfect example right there. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the womb. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. The sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, raise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Thanks, Stephan. I'm so glad that you're all here and chose to spend this morning with us. My name is Cynthia Zink, and I'm one of the spiritual practitioners here at Genesis, and I will be your host today. So our online host this morning is Eric. If you're watching on Facebook, please say hello to everyone in the comments, share your reactions, and make a connection. Now, if you would please join me for the mission and vision statements of Genesis. Let's stand while we say these. Our mission. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace, where all are welcome and accepted. And our vision? Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, a home for the soul, where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. I hope that you see and experience that brilliance as you celebrate with us today, and you may be seated. So our announcements for today. We now have name tags that are especially good when we have new visitors. Are there old visitors? No, there's no old visitors. When we have visitors so that they know who you are. I think we know everybody that's here today. But if you would like to grab one, we always keep them back on the counter on the opposite end from the coffee and the water that I forgot to plug in. We are looking for greeters for the door as a part of our volunteer welcome team. You can see me or Gideon if you are interested in signing up, and we will be having a training session for that in the next couple of weeks. We're calling all Genesis family and friends to build tiny homes for the second time with sound foundations. The next time is Sunday, May the 4th, from 2 to 6. You can sign up at the welcome table. We already have quite a few people signed up, but we always like to have more. The more, the merrier. And it's time again for our community meeting. We will bring you up to date on this happening and events of 2024 and 25. And last but not least, CSL Olympia is offering a visioning class, A Way of Life. This is a 5-week class. It's on Wednesdays starting May 21st from 6 to 9. The course will be in person and on Zoom. Early registration is $190 by May 11th and $220 after that. No texts are required. You can register at the cslolympia.org website or click on classes and events, and the visioning will come up. There's more information at the welcome table. And as usual, we will have our book study today after services, or after the fellowship. So I'm glad you're all here with us this morning. If this is your first time in, and I don't believe we have any new first-timers, do we? So you all know what to do. Isn't that great? Now's the time for our meet and greet. So if you... we love it when we have time to to stand up and greet, and I like to sit, and, and hug. And if you're not comfortable hugging, we are huggers here. If you're not comfortable hugging, you can put your hand out and shake hands, or you can just put your hands behind your back and say good morning. Okay.
Got all my family with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. I got all my family with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everyone can see we're together as we walk on by, and we float just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love and a family dose. We are family. I got all my family with me. Everybody and sing. We are family. Family with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Life is fun and we've just begun to get our share of this earth's delight. High hopes we have for the future and our goals inside. No, we don't get depressed. Here's what we call our golden rule. Have faith in you and the things you do. You won't go wrong, oh no. This is our family truth. We are family. I got all my family with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and say, with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing.
So at this time, I'd like to take time to thank all of the people that are in service today. Those who help set up and then also usually help clean up. Jim Monson. Oh, I better not do that. Mike, Eric. The table back there sets up and cleans up the table back there and all of the sound equipment and stuff. They're great. This morning, Joyce helped us hand out the envelopes and prayer cards. Our morning greeter is Lorianne. Mike is on the projector. Is that right? Am I doing that right? Okay. Our online host is Eric, and he's also in charge of making sure that we have... worldwide. The World Wide Web. Soon we will be seen around the world. Or is it across the world? I don't like across the world. We're going to be seen around the world. There you go. Our sound tech is Jim Monson, and Jim is the one that makes us all sound halfway decent.
I just make you sound like you are, and you all sound good.
Oh, okay. Our offering gatherer this morning is Gideon, and our musician, our guest musician today is Stephan Plummer, and she hasn't been here for a couple months, so we're glad to have her back. Okay. We're so grateful for all of those who show up in service on Sundays, and we could not pull all of this together without each and every one of you. If you'd like to be a part of a Genesis service team, please contact Gideon after the service or inquire at the welcome table. Now, if you would remain seated and join us in singing, we have changed and we have brought back one of our older songs that we used to use. We are going to sing Use Me. You have the words, Mike?
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide. You show me all that I must do. I used to think that God was a son. God is the Son, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is Creator, all in all, leading us to shine its light as me, as
that we're centered for this part of our service, I am going to be ringing the gong 3 times so that you can just continue that vibrational setting of where we are as we have centered. And then I will have a reading, and then we will do a prayer. And at that time, we will get to hear more from Stephan. So we're going to be talking a little bit about visioning today. Do you have that included in your talk? Good, it worked out right. And I just pulled out a few different a few different quotes from various places, well, mostly Michael Beckwith. But the first description of visioning that I found was catching God's idea. In visioning, we are not telling God what we want. We are sensing into a divine idea for us, or that thing for which we are visioning, that is so wonderful it is beyond our imagination. We are opening the way for that which is unlimited to come into view into our experience of life. We are giving of ourselves as a place of consciousness that is available to allow the perfection and wholeness of the one life to become manifest. In other words, as we are willing to become the vision, to embody it fully, we are avenues through which it manifests. And Reverend Michael also says, when you surrender to spirit, eternity breaks into time as your consciousness, manifesting itself as your life. Visioning is a process by which we train ourselves to be able to hear, feel, see, and catch God's plan for our life or for any particular project that we are working on. It is based on the idea that we're not here to tell God what to do or to ask God for things, but to absolutely be available for what God is already doing and to open ourselves up to catch what's already happening. And the final Reverend Michael quote is, the power of visioning is not just seeing what you want, but allowing what is already within you to unfold and express through you. And then I have a quote by Rumi that is appropriate. The truth is that we reach to the vision we create and hold, and so do all of the cells of our body. Clear your mind of limits and move directly into spirit. And so if you would join me in prayer. I recognize that one power and presence that I know as God, that source of all that is good, that spirit of all creation, that spirit that breathes me each and every moment of each and every day, knowing that I am one with it and it is one with me. And each and every one of you here today, either in person or online, is also one with it. And we are one with each other. And recognizing this place that we stand or sit, that we are surrendering into that spirit of love that is God, that spirit that guides us, that guards us, that protects us, that allows us to be ourselves no matter what we are doing, what we are saying. It allows us to be who we are. And as we each spend time in the visioning practice, or in prayer, or meditation, or in contemplation, however the spiritual practice is for you, we allow ourselves to grow and expand into Spirit and recognize more and more what Spirit is telling us is allowing us to see who we are and who our true self is and who that true person is that we allow others to see, knowing that we are each individuals of Spirit, that we are that divine creation, that individualization of Spirit, unique, all alone. We are the unique person that we are. I'm grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for Spirit in my life. I'm grateful for Spirit's availability to all of us, no matter what we say and what we do, that it is always there, ready, waiting, and presenting to us the next step of what is ours to do. And I release my words into the power and action of the law, knowing that the law has already said yes, and so it is. Amen. And now, more music from Stephan.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be back at Genesis. And I wrote this song a number of years ago, and I thought today was about fertilizing and gardening. So that's why I picked this song, because when I read it on the newsletter, it's like, what is a song that goes with fertilizing? Okay. But no, this song, Fruits I'm Bearing, it's pretty close. I mean, in a sort of a way. Well, just imagine that it is. How about that? Imagine that it fits perfectly with your talk. There's something inside, stronger than my heart and wiser than my mind. There's something inside, deeper than deep, wider than wide. What are these fruits I'm bearing? All this love inside, all this love inside, I want to keep on sharing. What are these fruits I'm bearing? All this love inside, all this love inside, I want to keep on sharing. God, sunshine of truth, warming my life, transforming my strife, performing the miracles of seeds, turning into fruits, like life everlasting and love never ending, and the peace of surrendering to all these fruits I'm bearing. All God's love inside, all God's love inside, I want to keep on sharing with you. All these fruits I'm bearing, all God's love inside, all God's love inside, I want to keep on sharing. God, sunshine of truth, warming my life, transforming my strife, performing the miracles of seeds, turning into fruits, like life everlasting and love never ending, and the peace of surrendering to all these fruits I'm bearing. All this love inside, all this love inside, I want to keep on sharing with you. All these fruits I'm bearing, all God's love inside, all God's love inside, I want to keep on sharing with you. All God's love inside, all God's love inside, I want to keep on sharing with you.
Thank you, Stephan. Mike, can we have the coffee filter slide? Thanks. There it is. So it's Palm Sunday. It's Passover, but last week we talked about Passover. And Passover, as we remember, is about freeing ourselves from being enslaved by our survival mind, by what we don't like in the world, by our judging of the world to be and ourselves to be inadequate. And we free ourselves from that and know that we are free, we are perfect, we are connected with God. But Palm Sunday. So Palm Sunday commemorates an event 2,000 years ago where Jesus and his disciples marched into Jerusalem. Well, he rode on a donkey into Jerusalem. And this was a little bit of political theater, because at the same time he was riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, the new governor of the province of Judea was coming in on a big charger, a big white horse with an army escort, a military parade, and with grand and grandiose gestures. But that governor was part of the Roman Empire, which ruled by fear. And we see over here, fear is over there, that's 100. So fear is right about here. So what this coffee filter represents is it is the amount of energy we get from each of the emotions. So shame is very constricted. We feel very small because we are giving all our energy to that, losing all our energy to that shame. When we get all the way up to fear, it's a little more active. We can do things. We can run away. We can take actions, but we're still very constricted. Compared to, you see, love is like the fourth down from the top. It's way up here. Jesus came in to teach a religion of love. There had been a religion of fear. God smiting all the enemies, God smiting everybody who is in us, lots of smiting. And you need to bring in your offerings to the temple. And one of the things, Jesus sort of lost his cool, because when he went to the temple, which he had always loved, he noticed the money changers there, because you couldn't buy your offering with regular Roman coins, so you had to change them for shekels. And we know this archaeologically, that the scales they used in Jerusalem to change the Roman coins into shekels were false. They cheated the people who were changing their coins to give extra profit to the people who would have done fine if they had done an honest business, but they didn't. They wanted to cheat them. And the priests sort of overlooked the cheating and got paid off. I don't know whether they got paid off with RVs or with trips on private airplanes, but whatever they got, the priests who were supposed to manage the justice and the way the system worked were bought off, and Jesus was not bought off. So he stormed and was angry with the money changers. Now, what he was doing was he was poking the bear in the eye. He was getting attention to his religion of love, and it's distinct from the religion of fear, by making a theatrical entrance on a donkey. Maybe that whole money changers thing was planned as well. My fellow ministers are divided between, mostly they think he lost his cool, but he might have lost his cool very theatrically. Certainly we're still talking about it 2,000 years later, so he made an impression. So that's what Palm Sunday is about. It's about bringing in the energy of love into fear. We've been talking about the thriving mind, which operates on the energy of love, versus the survival mind, which keeps us alive, but it's got the energy of fear running it. After this, we've got our Easter eggs here. It's going to be Easter Sunday next week, but we have all of Holy Week to get up to it. And Holy Week on Maundy Thursday commemorates the Last Supper. And this was where Jesus said, I think it was before the Last Supper in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, God, will you take this cup from me? And there's a swirly picture. Can you put that one on, Mike? Here it is. So the reason we tell these Jesus stories 2,000 years later is they represent parts of us. Jesus is a part of us. It's spirit. It's a part of us that that knows it's a God of love. We know we live in a unified world of love. And so what happens when there's discomfort, which was what Jesus was feeling when he saw that having poked the bear in the eye, if he didn't run for Persia, there was going to be trouble for him. And so he prayed, can I get rid of this? This is resisting it. It's resisting. You get a bad feeling, you get a feeling of fear, you resist it. But then he noticed his resistance, he prayed, and he said, oh, okay, it's okay, and he welcomed it. He welcomed all that he knew was going to happen, the trials, the parade, the crucifixion, all that stuff. He welcomed, and so at the Last Supper, he tried to reassure his disciples. And when we do that, when we get a feeling of fear, we don't have to push it away. That's our instinctive reaction, because we don't want it. But if we welcome it, if we say, you're welcome here, it won't crucify us. Sometimes it feels like that. But if we welcome it, then we can be curious about it. We can talk to it. We can deal with the questions. Because our survival mind has a very important purpose to help us to survive. But if we let it run us, it can have us do very inappropriate things, like running away to Persia when all we had to do is stop and talk to people. So this is to me what this week, what Holy Week is about. It's about facing our challenges. It's about bringing love into the world, in a world that isn't fair, in a world that's chaotic, in a world that we didn't make. Well, maybe we did. But it's a world that we are living through, and we are living through it with a message of love. Mike, can we have the affirmation? So this Sunday, let's do an affirmation together. I set my sights beyond the horizon, aligning my intentions with the future I desire. One more time. I set my sights beyond the horizon, aligning my intentions with the future I desire. So when Jesus came in with a religion of love, he had his sights set beyond the horizon. He couldn't see. He didn't know there would be fundamentalists. He didn't know there would be a witch hunt. What he knew is that he was empowering humanity to move beyond a religion of fear to a religion of love. And we can complete our visions. In fact, Cynthia and Dave Panic are going to be offering a monthly visioning workshop. Actually, the first one's on Thursday, May 1st, I think. So it's May Day. So when it's May Day, you'll have the opportunity to go to a visioning workshop. And then all the first Thursdays after that, it will be announced on, and it'll be on Zoom. It will be fun. And I highly recommend it, because these guys are great. Right now, today we're going to talk about our personal visions and how we move, how we find out what our personal vision is, how we adjust our personal vision, and how we execute it. So if you want to be successful, however you define success in the world, how do you work on it? Well, the most important thing is the trajectory. Like when people want to be successful, let's say you're a millionaire, you're very rich, but if you're spending more money than you're earning, then that isn't going to last. You're going to end up very unhappy, at least, or very poor. Whereas if you're broke, but you're making a little more money than you're spending, that's a good trajectory. If we're in a jet airplane, if we go to SeaTac and get a plane to New York City, if that plane is off by just a few degrees in its trajectory, then you'll end up in Washington, D.C. and you'll be hundreds of miles away from your destination. So what you want to do is watch out for your trajectory. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how we work on our trajectory. Emerson, so I'm taking roots with Karen Williams, and we are studying Emerson these last 2 weeks. One of the things we know about Ernest Holmes is when he was, we know he was not a very happy school child, but after he was done with his secondary education, anyway, after he was done going to public school, he went to a speechifying school. He went to a school of public speaking so he could learn how to be a good orator, a presenter. And when he was there, he got his first book of Emerson. And Ralph Waldo Emerson, it spoke to him. It made his heart sing. Ralph Waldo Emerson's message is, there's not just God in you, it's God as you. And Emerson talked about our souls as being like a boat in a river. And if we follow the direction our spirit wants to go, we go down the river, the current brings us there, the tides bring us there. There's nothing in our path that's going to stop us from going where we're going. But if we try to go upstream, it's going to be a lot of work. And if we go to one side or the other, we can bump or dent our boat, and we're not going to make it. So this is why we want to set a trajectory to go where we're going. So my son is an archaeologist. Right now he has a job as archaeologist of Travis Air Force Base in California, the head archaeologist. But when he was a baby, he just liked to go outside and he'd eat the flowers. He liked to eat berries. He liked to eat whatever was around that you could eat. And this was his joy. And when he went to college, he studied the New Channel tribe, and he loved it that they lived in such abundance. So the New Channel tribe is a series of tribes that lives along the Olympic and Vancouver coast, the west coast, the rainy side. And they have all this food that they can eat, just growing on bushes, and fish that they can catch, and seafood, all the seafood you'd ever want. And every once in a while, they'd catch a whale, and then they'd have way more food than they wanted. So what they would do is they'd invite their friends to share. They'd say, we have a whale. Come and eat all you can and cart away as much as you can carry. And people would come from far and wide. So they lived in an abundance culture. They lived in really a culture of love. So he greatly appreciated this. He got a job as an archaeologist, and they were studying an 800-year-old dig where the Squaxin Island tribe was in Olympia. And in the dig, they had the food they'd eaten, the fish bones and the clam shells and the oyster shells. And he noticed, as he was eating some salal berries, that there were salal berry seeds that were 800 years old, that were from the same tree, maybe, that he was eating his salal berries from. And nobody else had noticed, because the first Europeans who came here, when they encountered salal berries, they said, bleh, it's not sweet, it's inedible, who could eat this? And yes, salal berries are not sweet, but they are delicious. They're bright and juicy and energizing, and they taste really wonderful, not sweet. And so they looked and they started checking the 800-year-ago archaeological dig for how many salal seeds they ate with their oysters and clams and mussels and everything else. Escargot? I don't think so. That's the other side, that's right. If they were eating slugs, there wouldn't be any archaeological evidence left. So he made a difference in archaeology. He actually became sort of well known, and he had friends who were tribal members. And one day, one of his friends asked him if he knew where to find Labrador tea, and he said yes. And I'll tell you what Labrador tea is in a moment. What happened was her grandmother was sick. she had a cold and she wanted some Labrador tea because it would dry up her sinuses. But she couldn't go out and get it because she was sick, and her granddaughter didn't even know what it was. But my son did, and I was lucky enough that he brought me. They have fields. I don't know if you call them fields because they're marsh plants. They live underwater, mostly underwater. So you go out on the boardwalk in Mercer's Slough, but you can pick. We got bags and bags of Labrador tea because it was plentiful, and we wanted to make sure she had enough. So we brought that to her, and he found out what was going on, how to use it. And so we all had Labrador tea and dried up our sinuses, which didn't really need it, but now we know whenever we're ready. He ended up going to archaeology school. I want to say, so he's on the trajectory to be an archaeologist. When he was a baby eating plants in the backyard, he didn't know what an archaeologist was, but he knew he loved nature, and he knew he loved a world of abundance and love. And he's finding this world. He's finding it in the archaeological digs. He's finding it in the New Channel tribe and the Squaxin Island tribe. He went up to study archaeology, get a master's in archaeology at Western Washington in Bellingham. And he met somebody from the Lummi tribe, and they had a task for him. They knew that a lot of Lummi ancestors had been carted off to archaeological museums around the country. And they'd like them back. And so they hired him, and what he was able to do was he was able to go in the databases that told about what archaeological treasures each of the museums had in the entire United States, and he found 200 Lummi ancestors who were in there. And so he wrote 200 letters saying, we're so happy to tell you, or we're the Lummi tribe, and we miss our relatives, and we know that our ancestors are in your museum, and can you please send them back? We would really love you for that, because we would love to give our ancestors a burial back in the land that they came from. And they got 100 ancestors back from that power of love. And then he wrote another letter, because there were 100 ancestors still out there. And he said, the law provides that you're not allowed to have our ancestors in your museum, and we think that you know what's just and what's right, and that we know that we have faith that you're going to do what's right, and you're going to send our ancestors back. And they got 50 more ancestors back. And then they sent a letter to the remaining 50 and said, what you're doing is against the law, and we're going to sue you if you don't send back our ancestors. And they got 25 more ancestors back. And that was it. The Lummi tribe does not have money to be suing museums. But they got 175 ancestors back through the power of love, through the power of justice, through, I guess, a little power of threats. Threats. I'm happier at the first 150. But sometimes threats are the right thing to do. People need to recognize that there are consequences to what they do. And you could see this all led to my son becoming, as the head archaeologist. So he was the head archaeologist for the Air Force and the Army on Oahu, where I'll tell that story in a minute, because I'm not up to it yet. He was using an example. This was keeping him on his trajectory, doing these kinds of paths. And it's his thriving mind. He had compassion for the people, who, nobody working in those museums today took those bodies. They inherited the museum 100 years after somebody put someone's ancestors in there. And I suspect a lot of the people who responded to the lawyer letter didn't even see the other letters. That the only reason they saw that last one was because there were threats in it. And so I don't think they necessarily had to be threatened. I think it had to make some noise to get the attention level. Like maybe Jesus with the money changers or the donkey and the palms. So, but it's moving on that trajectory. The next thing we want to do, so we want to keep our trajectory, keep our actions towards our vision. We want to release our limiting beliefs. So many of us have limiting beliefs that won't allow us. We don't think we're going to be successful. We think it's going to be too hard. We think, oh, that's too much work. How could I ever do that much work? Isn't it easier just to suffer rather than to do a little work and change my trajectory so that I meet my vision? Well, we can address those beliefs the same way, Jesus addressed the fear of the consequences of poking the Roman bear in the eye. And we can talk to them, and this is so more archaeology. So my son Angus had an opportunity to have a big archaeology job in the high Sierras. They were making an oil pipeline many years ago going through Nevada and Oregon and California, that very tip where they all three meet. And as they were getting ready for the pipeline, the archaeologists were there to make sure that there were nothing archaeological destroyed on the way. And he had to do this job during the winter. So the winter and the high Sierras, the thing he was worried about, because they have to stand outside in the weather for like 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And so what he did, first he went to REI. He was like, what can I do? What kind of clothes do you have for me that will let me stand on a mountaintop for 16 hours in the middle of winter? And it cost him $800, which is probably a bargain by today's standards, but it seemed a lot back in those days. And he got his clothes, and he was never the first one to get so freezing that they called the day. And so he knew that there was some fear that he couldn't do it. And he's like, but they've invented clothes. He always would say, there's no such thing as bad weather, only inadequate clothing. And he knew REI mountaineers would have the adequate clothing. He also learned how to work with the construction workers, because when they're digging the pipeline, they have power equipment. There's not a lot of digging by hand that goes along, and they can't be like looking in the excavator to see what's going on. So what they had to do was they had to inform all the construction workers what they were looking for, what kind of things were archaeological. And in those days there are native artifacts. I'm not sure what tribe there is at the high Sierras, but he could tell you. And he knew exactly. In fact, it was funny because sometimes the locals who didn't want an oil pipeline would throw artifacts in the way. But these archaeologists could tell. They're like, that's not these guys. Those guys live thousands of miles away. And besides, why would there be just one arrowhead here when there's no other archaeological evidence? This is the wrong place for the arrowhead. So he learned how to work with the construction workers, and he learned how to work with the indigenous people. And this was perfect when he went to Hawaii, because it's construction workers, the army wants to build something, and the indigenous people want the graves and want the homes of their ancestors respected. And he could talk to both of them. So this was what he didn't know, that every day, everything he was doing was leading him on the path to his vision. So I'm going to, so visioning is something we can do. And we're going to have wonderful visioning workshops on the first Thursday beginning on May Day. But right now we can get a little taste of it. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into our hearts so that we can open our hearts. And we're going to sincerely ask 3 questions. First, what is Spirit's highest vision for my life? What must I embrace to manifest this vision? what must I release to manifest this vision? And you don't have to memorize those. I will say them to you. But let's all, it helps if you put your hands on your heart. You can feel that. And then breathe into your hearts. And we'd like a feeling of appreciation in your heart. Anything you appreciate, the wonderful music, our beautiful congregation and visitors, this wonderful spring that we're having, the growth we see in our gardens and in ourselves, our beautiful pets, and that feeling. So allow yourself to just notice that feeling of appreciation, that feeling of love, expanding and filling your heart and growing beyond your heart and filling your whole body. And now as that feeling spills out from your body, allow yourself to just lean back onto that love, onto that ease, onto that appreciation. And the power that knows the way is present in all of us. It's present everywhere, present in the universe. And the power that knows the way knows our highest vision for ourselves. It knows our highest state. And it knows us perfectly, intimately from the inside out. And we are grateful to have the power that knows the way in the room with us right now as we release this prayer and know that that power is our very essence, is our very core, is the very sum and substance of us. And so now, we sincerely ask, what is Spirit's highest vision for me? What is Spirit's highest vision for me? And Spirit may communicate with us through pictures, through sounds or songs, through feelings, through words. It may do it now, it may do it later. It may do it now, but we don't realize it until later. So we sincerely ask Spirit, what is the highest vision for me? And then we ask, what must I embrace to manifest this vision? Sincerely ask Spirit, what must I embrace to manifest this vision? And our last question is, what must I release? We sincerely ask Spirit, what must I release to manifest this vision? And now we know that we have sincerely communicated with Spirit. Spirit has or will communicate back with us. And we can now breathe into this moment, into our hearts once again. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes back into this time and space. So just know, if you got your vision right away, perfect. if you didn't, it'll come over time. Spirit lives in eternity, not in the space and time. And Spirit sometimes communicates in ways that we don't expect. And so keep a lookout over the next 24 hours for messages from Spirit. But you can also do this exercise by yourself. Anytime you can do heart breathing, you can sincerely connect with Spirit. And that will tell you, what the vision is, and maybe just the direction of the Spirit, because it's beyond the horizon. So we might not be able to see it, but what we can see is where we're going, and we'll know what we need to embrace, like my son embracing, like Jesus embracing the whole crucifixion, poke the bear in the eye kind of thing, or my son embracing eating, finding abundance in berries that early Western explorers did not think were edible. I eat so many salal berries in July and August. I always come back with purple fingers from the woods. So this was the direction, communicating with construction workers, communicating with indigenous people, just knowing and loving their lives. This all moved him in. And so some of this was not something he would necessarily see. Nobody had any idea where he would end up, but yet it's perfect. And you can see in retrospect, every step was the perfect step. And this is how our airplane gets from Seattle to New York City instead of Washington, D.C. And this is how we get to where we're going. So good. We've got our affirmation here again. So we're going to continue. Let's say this together 3 times. I set my sight beyond the horizon, aligning my intentions with the future I desire. I set my sight beyond the horizon, aligning my intentions with the future I desire. I set my sight beyond the horizon, aligning my intentions with the future I desire. And so find that, be mindful every day, take care of yourself, be compassionate. These are all things that will lead you to any goal. And when your judge comes up and tells you how disappointed it is, you can say to your judge, please help me figure out how you can not be so disappointed. And there we are. So everybody has a yellow card, should have a yellow card somewhere near you. And on one side, it has an opportunity for you to write down a prayer demonstration. And by writing down the prayer and then the other side will be a prayer. But by writing down the prayer demonstration first, anytime a prayer has come true for you or anybody you know, then this makes your prayer that much more powerful, because your whole mind knows that prayers are real and prayers are powerful. And then your prayers, you can pray for the world, you can pray for your friends, you can pray for yourself. Any kind of prayers, they go to our wonderful practitioners who pray them into Spirit, pray them into the world of eternal creativity and love, where they have infinite power to manifest your dreams. do have the best prayer writing music. But now Stephan is going to treat us to more music.
Well, I picked out a lot of songs today, but as you were speaking, I thought maybe I should do a Jesus song. From the good old olden days. What do you think? Should I do a Jesus song? Straight out of the Pentecostal churches that I grew up in. This was my mother's favorite song. It's like, really, Mom? Don't you want me to sing something else? No, sing that Jesus song. Well, I guess I've been hanging around too long. It's just about time I was moving along. But I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. And don't you worry and don't you mourn. Just about time I was moving along. And I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. I'm gonna leave this sinful world before the dawning. And don't you worry and don't you mourn. Just about time I was moving along. Then I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. Just one thing before you carry me away. Don't you bury me deep, cause I ain't gonna stay. I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. Just a little bit of dirt and a little bit of gravel. Don't you weigh me down, cause you know I gotta travel. And I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. Sing it with me. I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. I'm gonna leave this sinful world before the dawn. I said sinful world. Don't you worry and don't you moan. It's just about time I was moving along. And I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. How about one more time just for gags and giggles? I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. I'm gonna leave this sinful world before the dawning. Don't you worry and don't you moan. Just about time I was moving along. And I'm gonna kneel at the feet of Jesus in the morning. Maybe on a donkey. Yeehaw!
That was great flexibility in your tunes this morning. Pull the chakra. Did everybody hear Jim's comment? Okay, so now is the time for our offering. We are a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower our spiritual growth. And we love that you are here to share in that with us. This is an invitation to participate in circulation, to connect with abundance and generosity. Your participation makes all this possible. We truly appreciate your support. So let us take a moment to craft our financial gifts. If you are on Facebook, please visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithe to 220-800-7595. Keep on going. Okay. So if you are complete, Mike, oh, Mike's on his toes. I thought he wasn't back at the table. I thought he's not going to have our prayer up there. He fooled me. So if you take a moment and just hold your prayer cards and your offering envelopes to your heart and join me in our offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And now Gideon will collect our offerings and our prayer cards, and while we do that, if you would join us in singing, God is my source.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need, and I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need, and I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me every little thing I need, and I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So if you would if you would join me in offering with our open hearts, we receive these gifts, knowing that the fruits that come forth do powerful works. And we bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. It is with deep gratitude that we give thanks. And so it is. Amen. So thank you for joining us today. Please join us after service for our food and fellowship that is being provided by the Supper Club. So it's, I guess, supper that we're having. I will be in the alcove over here if anyone would like prayer, and wishing every one of you a week filled with joy and love and true connection. So let's stand and sing our closing song, I Release.
There was a time in my life I thought I could do it all by myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know that the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through one more day, you just gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. This is what you got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. One more time. I am free the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah, yeah, I'm only here for God.
Thank you, everybody. If you will join us back for some food, drink, fellowship, that's great.